Blog Talk Radio.
I guess I've been dreaming this morning. As I awake, my dream seems so real. The voice of an angel had spoken. I can't explain how his words made me feel. The message he told me was simple. Said your granddad and grandma was fine. He told me God's almighty hands were so gentle, and we'll all be back together sometime. One breath away, one breath away. Every one of us on God's green earth is one breath away. It's gonna be okay. I heard the angels say, your daddy's alright, he's in heaven tonight, and everything's okay. I know this old world keeps on turning, and some say time takes the pain away. If I'm lucky, I'll keep on learning as I grow a little older each day. I'm thankful for so many memories, and now to watch my own kids grow tall. Love and life have so many mysteries, but it's no mystery that God loves us all. One breath away, one breath away. Every one of us on God's green earth is one breath away. It's gonna be okay. I heard the angels say, your daddy's alright, he's in heaven tonight, and everything's okay. Every one of us on God's green earth is one breath away.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Off the Chain. I'm your host, Yvonne Mason, and that was One Breath Away by independent country music artist Richard Lynch. And I say independent country music artist with pride, because this wonderful, wonderful, gifted man sat down with me a couple of years ago, and he was just bursting on the scene, and I told him then that he would go far. And as we get into the interview, you all will see how far he's gone. He is a Waynesville, Ohio-based country music artist, and he has compiled a long list of country hits and chart toppers in the world of traditional country music. His single, A Better Place, topped the New Music Weekly AM and FM country chart, the Indie World Country Record Report, and he spent an incredible 32 weeks, ladies and gentlemen, almost half a year, atop the Roots Music Report True Country chart. His next 4 singles also topped the country airplay charts, including a duet with Grammy Award winner Rhonda Vincent. Richard's single, Country Music Isn't Country Anymore, went top 25 on the iTunes Canada sales chart. His last single, Pray on the Radio, received Christian radio airplay and charting, also reaching the U.S. iTunes single sales chart. And it gets better. Richard has appeared on WSM Radio Nashville, RFD TV, Fox TV, and countless other media outlets. He is a member of the Ohio Country Music Hall of Fame. If I ever get to Ohio, I'm going to go see him there. The Independent Country Music Hall of Fame, and he is a Billboard Magazine Emerging Artist. He is also the host of Traditionally Lynch, airing on TV and radio, and he's the founder of the Love Tattoo Foundation for Veterans. And I just found out something today that I have to share before we go any further, and I bring him in. Again, I am so proud of this artist. In the indie world, whether it's as a musician or a author or a painter, we have an uphill battle because we do our own thing. And for a indie music artist to make the inroads that this gifted artist has made makes my heart burst with pride. I found out today that his song, Wait For Me, is number 1 on iTunes Country Chart in South Africa and number 3 in all genres. Richard, welcome. Thank you, my dear, for agreeing to come and spend an hour with me, and I'm just bursting with pride.
Well, Yvonne, thank you for having me. What an honor and what an awesome introduction. Thank you so much.
Well, I just keep watching you. Before the show, I was telling you that, you know, I had to stop the show when I lost my husband because he was my biggest supporter, my biggest muse, and we always talked about my guest when I came back into the room. And so the first couple of times after I ran the show, after he died, and I walked back into my living room, all I had was my dog, and I'm going, well, this isn't going to do well because I had nobody to share it with. So I had to stop it for a while. But I hear him in my ear saying, what are you doing, Yvonne? You love doing the show. So we are back. And you have agreed to be one of my first guests with your new release, which we'll play shortly. So let's catch up. What have you been doing? I have followed you. I've reposted your gigs and your music. You're all over the place.
Well, we have been. Our last live performance was at the end of February, and right after that is when all this, COVID stuff kind of snuck in our lives, and we've had lots and lots of our dates canceled, along with the rest of the entertainers out there. You know, we've got a full summer scheduled with events all over the country, and hopefully we'll be able to do at least some of them. But you know, there's a silver lining in every gray cloud. My mom always said, and you know, when you step back and you think about it, it's pretty cool because I've had an opportunity to write a lot of great songs here in the last couple of months. I'm amazed at where these songs are coming from. All I can tell you is I'm holding the pen, and a higher power is helping me write these songs. That's all I can tell you. But I'm fortunate that I get to do what I love. And you made mention of your husband, how much he supported you. Well, I have the same in my wife. She absolutely supports me in every facet of everything I do, whether it's farming, whether it's music, or whatever I'm doing. And she's really the reason that I'm having this success, because she's one of those gals that just don't take no for an answer. And, you know, you get things starting to happen when you got somebody. Oh, yeah. You got somebody like her in your corner, you can't go wrong. So I'm a lucky guy.
So talking about the insanity of this day and time we're in, I know that it's affected you and the other artists out there, and this is something that sometimes those who we elect to empower don't understand. They talk about essential jobs and what is essential. Well, since day one, I've been screaming, look, we're going to have more suicides, more drug abuse, more alcohol abuse, more domestic abuse, more child abuse than we've had ever. It's going to escalate. We're going to have more people out on the streets. We're going to have more crime committed because you people are too stupid to do this the right way. You're putting people in precarious positions. And one of the things that is very important for mental and emotional health is music. Am I right?
You're 100% right. It's a proven fact that, folks that are in rest homes and so forth, even, after such a long time, it would even get to the point where they're not coherent. But it's been proven that if they can hear some music that they connected with at some point in their life, you can actually watch the heartbeat and the heart rate actually be monitored based on that music that they loved at some point in their life. So music is really a powerful, powerful entity.
So let's take that one step further. They shut down all the assisted living and all the nursing homes. Well, you have elderly people in there with a multitude of not just physical ailments, but cognitive ailments. They either have dementia, Alzheimer's, or some form of memory loss. And all of a sudden, they're totally shut away from the people that they love and the people they're used to seeing coming through their door, even though they may have a moment where, who are you? Oh, I'm your daughter. Oh, yeah, I remember you now. And now, by the time that child is allowed to go see that parent's memory will be completely gone.
That's really sad. I wish I had a better answer for you, but I do believe that, for lack of better words, that the man upstairs has got a plan for all of us, and we're going to get through this no matter what happens. I know we're going to all get through it. We may have to have a stumble or two, but I know for a fact that we'll all get through it, and we'll look back on this and say, what was we thinking? But the positive way of thinking is how I'm going to always choose to look at it.
And I agree. God's got a plan because nothing happens without God's direction because he sees way down the road. But getting back to your music, something that might help those folks would be to give them music at a time that they remembered so that they wouldn't feel so isolated and so alone.
I agree 100%. I know as a youngster, from a very young age, I was grown up and born into a country music household. And by that, I mean my dad was an incredible singer, entertainer here in the Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana area where I'm from. And, so even to this day, I can still remember them old songs on the radio. They were in the kitchen. When Dad would have a cup of coffee in the morning, the first thing he would do is turn that radio on, and I could still hear Buck Owens and Mel Tillis and Gary Stewart and all those incredible artists of that era. And so, that music is in my heart then, and it's in my heart now. So I think it'll always be with me.
And I think if you ever got dementia, which you're not going to get, I refuse to allow you to have it because it would be such a loss of a great talent. You will, just like now, you will remember, though, if somebody were to play one of your songs, it would bring that light back into your eyes. It would bring that smile back into your face because you knew that you had written that song at some point in your life.
I think you're exactly right. And, I do believe that if it ain't the most powerful form on earth, it's close to it because it touches so many people. And, you can have a wide array of emotion with music, whether you're happy or exuberant or you're sad or you're thinking about how mad you was during that situation, but that music brings out that emotion in people. And I think that's what's missing in a lot of more modern music is they're leaving emotion out of the music. And I want to be the guy that tries to put that emotion back in that music. You know what I mean?
And yes, because again, before the show, you and I were discussing that even the country music today is not. It's not a story. It doesn't have a beginning, a middle, and an end. It has lyrics and it's poetry, but the country music that you and I grew up on, even the rock and roll that you and I grew up on, it told a story. And
it did, and it
people
had a
could
direction.
yes, and people could relate to that story. And this is where I see your music has come to, even since day one. Everything that you do tells a story.
Well, thank you. I've never really considered myself to be a great songwriter, but I heard somebody tell me, I listened to a story one time. It said, you need to listen to Chris Christopherson. And I listened to an interview of Chris Christopherson, and he's telling his story, how he wrote this one and that one, and his words are still with me today. You have to write a lot of songs to really, develop your craft in writing. But the most words that he said that I always felt touched me the most was that tell the truth in a song. Put the words and be truthful and tell a story in a truthful form, and your song will always reach and touch people. I've had people call me and come to my shows and say, well, Richard, it's almost as if you wrote this song for me. And that's the biggest compliment I think I could ever get, because, at that point your music touched that person.
And Richard, when we think about it, what a lot of people don't understand is the lyrics to a song is poetry. It really is a story in poetry form set to music.
I agree 100%. And that gentleman or that lady that's writing that song, she's pouring her heart. He or she is pouring her heart into that music at that point. And you as a writer and as a singer, you only hope that you have that magic melody and you have those words that fit that magic melody, because when it all comes together, and you are fortunate enough to have your music aired on radio and different medias around the world, you realize what a fortunate person you are, and I know I am. I'm so lucky that I get to do what I love. And I've had people tell me, over the years, Richard, we've seen that you're playing somewhere close in our area, and we've taken a vacation for a couple, 3 days just so we can come, see your show. And that is so honoring and flattering that someone would think enough of my music to do that. And so it once again boils down to how powerful the music really is.
And also how powerful the person behind the music performs that music. I've seen many artists who were entertainers, but they were more entertainers than they were artists. And I know you understand what I'm saying. Right.
Yeah. I think I do. It's great to be in a situation where you're entertaining a crowd, but for longevity and, when we're not here no more, it'd be nice to have that music remembered and that feeling from that music that, you can hand down to your kids or your grandkids. And, once that song is in your heart and it continues to be played and be shared, you're really there for, the emotion of the music.
Exactly. For instance, my son is 48 years old. 48, 49. He's 48 years old. I can never remember how old my children are. And I raised him and his two sisters, who are 44 and 37 respectively, on old country, the Waylon Jennings, the Willie Nelson, the Chris Christopherson, and rock and roll, the old 50s, 60s rock and roll. And do you know, we all know that music is timeless, like the big band sounds are still timeless. My children still listen to that music even now.
I love it. Absolutely love it. You raised them right, didn't you, Yvonne?
I did.
I love it.
And they would rather listen to the old country and the old rock and roll than today's music. They listen to today's music, but their first love is the classic music that we grew up on and that I listened to when they were little. I had that music in their room when they were babies. They went to sleep listening to Elvis Presley or to Waylon Jennings or to Hank Williams Jr. That's what they went to sleep by.
Great? Ain't that great?
So
that's so cool. I got a quick little story if I may share it with you.
Absolutely.
Well, this is something that's kind of thinking about a lot lately. And once again, we get to talk about old songs or different things, and the different memories come by. Well, I remember when I was 8 years old, the first time I ever got to go with my mom and dad to see my dad perform live. He was playing in Dayton, Ohio, with a guy named Porter Wagner. Now imagine this 8-year-old kid watching his dad perform with this guy I watch on television every Saturday night. I'm thinking, my goodness, my dad must be somebody. So here I am, I'm all enamored, my chest sticking out there, and I'm watching my dad do his part of the show before Porter Wagner comes on. And unbeknownst to me, my dad points down in the crowd and says, Linda, which is my mother's name, send Richard up here. I'm like, you got to be kidding. So I jump up on the stage, and I did an old Buck Owens song, I Got a Tiger by the Tail. Now, here I am. My dad's name is Woody Lynch. Here I am, this 8-year-old kid, playing a song that my dad's band is playing, and you might imagine it went over pretty well as an 8-year-old kid. And I want you to know, from that moment to this, that's exactly what I define when the music bug bit me right there. When I heard that crowd start clapping and carrying on, I knew exactly that this music is what I wanted to do from that moment right there.
See, that your path was predestined, my friend.
You might be right.
It was predestined, I'm telling you. So on that note, let's play Pray, because that is one of my favorite songs. It's not one of the songs that Michael sent me, but I love this song. And I think we need this song. And I'm going to save the new one to last, because you know how I am. I keep people listening. I'm like Johnny Carson. He always saved his best guest till last, so people would watch the whole thing. Well, we're gonna play the new one towards the end, and we're going to talk about it. But shall we play Pray and talk about it and maybe give people a little bit of hope?
Sounds great.
Okay. Hold on. Let's get it on. Well, maybe.
I've been writing my songs and telling my stories. I finally got my songs played on the radio. I've been doing interviews around the country, and then one day a DJ asked me, can I pray with you? He said, do you mind if we pray on the radio? Do you mind we talk about the Lord? I truly believe that God's watching over you. You know there's no better company than Jesus while you're out on the road. I told the DJ right then I'd be more than happy to share my thoughts and inspirations about my songs. I'm thankful God likes my music enough to ride with me. So if you're hearing my country music, then know that Jesus tags along. Do you mind if we pray on the radio? Do you mind if we talk about the Lord? I truly believe that God's watching over you. You know there's no better company than Jesus while you're out on the road. I know there's no better company than Jesus while we're out on the road.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Pray on the Radio. This is Off the Chain. I'm your host, Yvonne Mason, with my guest, country music artist Richard Lynch. That is his song that he wrote and sings. I can't talk tonight, Richard. Just bear with me. So, and I think in the environment we're in right now, that this may be a wake-up call for us, that the people that are looking for something other than the here and now, that maybe they need to be praying, even if it is on the radio.
Oh, I can't go wrong with that answer. You know, that's a great way of putting that. I tell you, how you never know where a song is going to come from. When I wrote that song, it's when I look back on it, it's really hard to believe that really actually happened. Sometimes I catch myself telling the story, but it's the truth. We were on a 3-state radio tour doing a song that I had recorded at the time called We're American Proud, and it was doing well in different parts of the country. And we had just left a radio station in Tennessee and was on Interstate 40 heading west to our next radio event. And driving down the interstate and my phone rings, and it's our manager. He says, be expecting a phone call from California. There's a gentleman out there would love to do a radio interview with you in California on your new song. So I no sooner than hung up the phone, and sure enough, the phone rang, and it's this disc jockey, and he's got this syndicated radio show that he's doing in California. And the first thing he told me was, wow, Richard, I love your music, and I see how busy you are. He said, as busy as you are and how much traveling you're doing, he said, the Lord must be with you. And I laughingly said, well, I would like to think so, and I hope so. And the conversation went on and on. We finally got close to the end of our interview, and he said to me, Richard, do you mind if we pray on the radio? And this emotion came over me. Now, keep in mind, I'm driving down the interstate. My wife's in the passenger side of the pickup truck there. And never would there normally be a pad of paper anywhere to be found, but there was a pad of paper right between us that day. And normally you couldn't find a pen or a pencil in my truck with a search warrant, but there was a pen in the dash that day looking at me. So I'm driving down the road, and that song was being wrote. Now, I'm steering with part of my knee, and I'm having a conversation with the phone, and my wife looks over at me, and her eyes are big as silver dollars. I guess she thought I was going to get us killed. So she grabbed the pad of paper and the pen, and she heard, and she started writing down exactly what the conversation was between me and the disc jockey from California. And ultimately, that song was wrote on the interstate highway during the interview right then.
I would definitely say that was a God moment.
Well, someone described it, and I believe they're right, as divine intervention at that particular time.
Absolutely. And we never know when that's going to happen to us. And when it does, we have to be receptive to it. We have to be ready to embrace it. Just like when I heard starting now, when you put the video up, and I'm sitting there looking at it, and I got hold of Michael. I said, Michael, I really want Richard on this show. I think we need to promote this song, especially since he can't be out and about now. Michael says, done.
Well, it's good to have people in your corner, you know what I mean?
I'm telling you, because there are certain times in our life when it just feels right. And tonight just felt right to have you on this show.
Oh, thank you. I would come on your show anytime, anywhere. I think highly of you, and you've always been such a blessing to me and supported my music. But I thank you for saying that. You and I get along just fine, and I would do your show anytime.
Oh, thank you, my darling friend. See, ladies and gentlemen, it does pay to know people in high places.
Well, let me know who they are, because I'm not sure I know them.
Or maybe I should say low places, low high places.
that might be more accurate.
Before we play the new song, we may play Mending Fences. I've got that one pulled up, too, because I like that one, too. But I want to talk about something that's near and dear to your heart, and that is the Love Tattoo Foundation.
Well, thank you for mentioning that. Me and my wife are big supporters and proponents of our nation's military men and women. And as far as I'm concerned, we can't do enough to support them. And I was lucky enough to meet a gentleman who had written a poem, and he sent it to my wife. He wanted to know if I would consider looking at it, maybe give it some music, putting some music to his poem, and I did that. And I realized it needed a little help, so another writer in Nashville, between the three of us, actually came up with the entire song. And I had been doing it all around the country, for, I guess, 6 or 8 months. And we were lucky enough to do a show with Ronnie McDowell. And Ronnie McDowell, I always loved his music, but I didn't realize that he did 3 tours of duty in Vietnam. So he's also...
I didn't know that either.
I was blown away. So he was a huge supporter of the military, still is. So I did the show. I said, Ronnie, I've got this song that I really think, we could do really well together. If you would give it a consideration and listen to it, maybe we could jump in the studio and do a duet together. Well, he listened to it on his way back home to Nashville, and a few days later I got a phone call that, hey, Ronnie wants to get in the studio and do that. And so I was so excited to get in the studio and record a duet with one of my heroes, Ronnie McDowell. We recorded the song, and we decided that all sales, whether it's hard drive, whether it's vinyl, or whether it's some kind of a media sale, all sales of that particular song would go to help this foundation, Love Tattoo Foundation, and we have dedicated this money to a place called the Whirlwind Lodge, which is a 1,200-acre facility in Michigan, and it's dedicated to all our veterans from World War II to today. And once a year, I get to go up there and do a concert for these so deserving folks and get to meet these guys. But once again, we're dedicating it, and we're making this donation for this music for a cause to what we believe in, which is our men and women who serve our country.
And what is the name of that song?
It's called Love Tattoo.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you go, and I just happen to have that song, I am going to play the song, and after the show, if you go and download this song, understand that it is going to the Love Tattoo Foundation. So I'm going to play this song, if that's okay with you, Richard.
Oh, I'd be honored.
Okay.
He loves his God, his kids, his wife. For them, he gladly give his life. He served his country as many do, and he came home with a love tattoo. I remember when the soldier walked past. He paused as he heard a young child ask, "Where'd you get that scar I see on you?" He smiled and said, "It's not a scar, it's my love tattoo." The soldier said, "To keep our world more safe for you, I fought and bled as many do. I did what I knew I had to do. No, it's not a scar, it's my love tattoo. My love tattoo is a symbol to remind him how we fought with pride for our red, white, and blue. If Uncle Sam asked him to stand with our soldiers in some foreign land, he'd unpack his uniform and combat boots, and with honor bring back home a new love tattoo. My love tattoo helps me recall some of my friends who gave their all. They fought and died as many do, so I'm proud to wear my love tattoo. He loves his God, his kids, his wife. For them, he gladly gave his life. And he served his country like heroes do. And he came home with a love tattoo. Yes, he came home with a love tattoo.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Off the Chain. I'm your host, Yvonne Mason. That was Love Tattoo, written and performed by my guest tonight, Richard Lynch. And all proceeds from this song goes to the Love Tattoo Foundation, which supports our veterans. And Richard, to do that is such an unselfish and kind act, because as you lived through Vietnam, and you know that our veterans were not treated very kindly when they came home from there.
You're exactly right. You know, I appreciate you saying those words, but by being able to get up there and to do some concerts and meet these so deserving men and women who have sacrificed so much, and to be able to shake their hands and to get to know these folks for, just a short time, I get more out of it than they do. I promise you. They're such a understanding, and they never ask anybody for anything, and they're overwhelmed when somebody does something for them. It's like they can't believe it. And you kind of touched on it when they came back from Vietnam, especially. They weren't treated very well, and the fact that somebody does something for them and helps them, they so appreciate it. And I'm glad that I can do that for those fine folks.
It just makes me love you even more, my friend. And I want a quote that is on your website that has to do with this. It resonates, and it says, and it's really powerful, especially now. And it was written by Eleanor Roosevelt, and it says, "Freedom makes a huge requirement of every human being. With freedom comes responsibility. For the person who is unwilling to grow up, the person does not want to carry his own weight. This is a frightening prospect." And that is something to think about.
Timeless, isn't it?
Very timeless, because freedom is a responsibility, and it comes with a price.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. These fine folks up there at the Wilbin Lodge, they have a 60-acre fishing lake on this 1,200-acre facility, and since I've been involved with them, we've been able to help build. I think there's 8, or even more than that now, 8 or 9 cabins that the soldiers can come and be surrounded in this wilderness environment. It's actually designed for rest and recreation, to where they can kind of get their head back together again, because a lot of folks, they deal with, psychological problems, and there's a doctor there, and there's a wonderful facility there that will actually, support and diagnose these folks. But it's a place for them to relax and kind of come to terms with their problems. And as far as I'm concerned, it's really a noble and a worthwhile cause, because these folks are so deserving.
And you, my friend, are a man of extremely wonderful character.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I'm a lucky guy. I know that.
I'm not so sure if it's luck as it's a gift, and you have taken that God-given gift and you have multiplied it 100 times over by your unselfishness. And I think in my heart that because you do that in such a kind and unselfish way, and you're always thinking about others, and we're fixing to portray this in the next song, and thinking about others, your gift just magnifies itself and grows.
Well, thank you for saying that. I'm lucky that I get to do what I love to do, and I so love the fact that I get to meet my fans and shake their hand and hug their neck and get to know them for just a short period of time during our show, or if we should happen to be somewhere on a recording session or something. It's so honoring to meet these folks, because I truly, truly love my fans, and I love the fact that I get to do what I love to do. I grew up in a household where country music was a way of life, and I've seen how, most genuine country folks, they treat people like they want to be treated, and I'd like to be remembered as doing the same.
Well, let me tell you, I don't like crowds. I get very claustrophobic because I'm an empath, so I pick up everybody's emotions, so I hate crowds, but I would stand in a crowd to come see you.
Well, thank you very much, and you got an open invitation to any of my shows, backstage included.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. See, people, it pays to know people in certain places.
Well, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next song that I am going to play, it's called Starting Now. And I'm going to play the song, and then I'm going to get Richard to give you a little bit of the backstory. This song hit me between the eyes. I have a very deep and abiding faith, and I believe that God has a plan for everything and everybody. And sometimes we have to just be on our knees in the bottom of the pit before we get that wake-up call. And this song is just so needed and so powerful especially now. So I'm going to play this song, and then we'll talk some about the backstory. It's called Starting Now.
I ran into an old friend of mine the other day. I hadn't seen him in quite a while. We talked, caught up a little. It was good to see my old friend smile. I asked him, I said, "So where you been hiding out all these years?" He gave me a slight little grin and said, "I dedicated my life to the Lord." Yeah, he's my new best friend. I paused for a while and thought, wow, what a change. I'm glad my friend turned his life around. He must have known what I was thinking, 'cause what he told me then was so profound. He said, "When I was a young man, I thought I knew it all. No one could tell me anything. My life was a party. Yeah, I had a ball. Till my party days finally caught up with me. The day I turned 50, I didn't have anything. I woke up cold, sleeping under a bridge. My pockets was empty, and I was all alone. Man, I really wanted to go back home. I didn't want my family to see me this way, so I asked God to help me somehow. I said, "Jesus, if you help me out, I'll give my life to you, starting now."
That was Richard Lynch's new single, Starting Now. This is Off the Chain. I'm your host, Yvonne Mason, with my guest, Richard Lynch. Richard, when I saw that video, it hit me between the eyes and in the gut, and I am not an emotional person, but it literally brought tears to my eyes.
Well, that means you connected with it pretty well. You probably knew someone or know someone that was in a similar situation with that particular song.
So the backstory of that is there's someone that you know that has had some rough days, and this song tells that story.
Yeah, I got a family member that's been, basically fighting alcoholism all his life, and he recently turned 51 years old. And I did a Texas tour last year, and we had a day off, and my wife and one of her friends down in Texas decided they was going to do a little shopping. I said, I'm just going to stay here and fiddle with my guitar. I had him on my mind, and I had the family member on my mind, and realized the situation he was in, and I just started writing that song. And when they got back, when my wife and her friend got back, I played it for them, and I didn't have it all the way finished, but Donna said, we've got to get that recorded. And so I immediately finished writing the song, and then we scheduled a session to be in the studio and record that song. And some of these musicians that I work with in Nashville, they're world renowned, play some of the best of the best, and they don't get off on telling anybody anything. But the director, the session leader, told me, he said, "Richard, this is the reason why I got into playing country music to begin with, is this particular song right here." And I took that as a pretty amazing flattery comment, and he was right, because it's touched so many people, with these demons that folks have. It's touched so many people, and hopefully they take home by hearing this song that there's a way out, and it doesn't always have to be, that doom and gloom. There is a place and there is a way that you can, believe and get out of this mess. It's never too late.
And it's like you and I discussed before the show went live. When we think about it, this earth is not our home.
That's right.
There is a better place for us. We just have to take the steps that we need to get there. And
You're exactly right.
Seeing that video, and like you say, my grandson is one of those people that has had a very, very rough life. And I want to say, look, this is where you need to start now. You need to start here and get back on the path that you need to be. And I see people like that, people that are totally in despair with their life. It's overwhelming for them, but there is always hope.
There is hope, but they have to really want it. We can want it for them, and the neighbors can want it for them, and the family can want it for them, but they have to want it as well. And once they realize that, they can get out of this squalor that they put themselves in, just believe in the man upstairs, and come to grips with what your demon is, and then you can get through it. And I hope that's how the song is portrayed. I wrote it with a particular family member in mind. I would never call him out by name, but I wanted to write it to where it was inclusive enough to where people can hear the song and make a connection with either someone they know or even their own life. But ultimately, they can understand that there's a better place, and we can get through whatever's got a hold of us.
Well, you did an excellent job. Again, that was a God moment. I believe that was all in my heart. Your gift is God-given, and I think that there is a lot of God inspiration in your music and in your writing.
Well, thank you, Yvonne. I really appreciate hearing that. I know, and I believe there's a man upstairs, and we talked about a while ago how he was on the road, and I'd like to think, and I know he's watching over us, whether we're on the road or whether we're on the farm baling hay or whatever we're doing. He's right there. You just gotta just believe, and I do believe in the man. He'll take good care of us. We let him.
Absolutely. So, where are you going to be next? I know you've got some gigs in the summertime. What is your first gig, and where is it?
Well, I think most of June has now been canceled, but we have rescheduled and rescheduled and rescheduled. It looks like we're going to be in Eastern Tennessee. I don't have my schedule in front of me. Sometime in July, we're doing a beautiful theater. We're doing some county fairs. We're doing some festivals in Ohio and Indiana, Tennessee. We're doing a television show that I'm really proud of with Penny Gilley. Penny Gilley is a RFD host that has her own TV show, and she plays traditional country music, and she's asked me to be on her television show. So we're rescheduling that again because of the the COVID thing. But so many cool things and different places all around the country that hopefully we'll be able to get to this year. I do have a a new album that I'm not quite done with. This first song we played off of it is starting now. That kind of gives you an idea what the new music that I'm writing. And so I'm really proud of that. And we should be having that buttoned up toward the end of the summer or early part of the fall. Like I say, this illness here has kind of put the recording on a back burner. But there's so many things that I'm doing musically that I'm so blessed that I get to do this thing, because it's been a part of my life all my life, and I'm really thankful that I'm finally reaching out and connecting with the masses out there that want to hear real traditional country music, and there's a lot of folks that really want to hear that.
Yes, there are. So you're not going to believe this, but we're getting to the backside of this show. We've got like 3 minutes left.
Already?
I told you. Remember, it flies by when you and I talk.
I can't. It seems like we just picked up the phone.
I know. Tell everybody where all your music can be found in your website real quick.
Well, the best way to find my music and all our tour dates and the merchandise is to go to Richard Lynch Band. That's LYNCH, RichardLynchBand.com, and you'll see all our social media sites, all the music sites, all the different avenues where they can find out what they want to find out about me. Sometimes there's a couple places out there you'll find out more than you want to know about me, but it's still there. So, just go to Richard Lynch Band. You'll find out all the stuff that we're doing this year.
Well, I want you to know how honored and humbled and grateful that I am that you agreed to visit with me tonight so that we could promote this newest song, and to know that you have such a gift, and I am so honored to call you friend and to say, hey, Michael, tell Richard I want him on the show, and he says, okay, done.
Well, the honor is mine, Yvonne. You're a class act. You always have been, and you made mention of me being on your show, and anytime I get wind of that, you can bet one thing, I'll be happy to come on your show anytime.
Well, you are amazing. Donna is amazing. I'm going to tell you what, Donna is driving this train, and she's going to take you to places that you're going, wow, I didn't see that coming.
She is, and, we've been together a little over 14 years. We've been friends for 35 years, and, ultimately, the man upstairs had a plan for that one there, too. I would, if I'd have just seen it sooner, it would have been more than 14 years, but, I had to figure that out myself, you know what I'm saying? Slow learner, you know what I mean?
I understand that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting down to the literally the last minute of the show. Please go and support Richard at www.richardlynchband.com. Get that Love Tattoo song downloaded so that it can go to our veterans. Go and get his newsletter. Friend him on Facebook. He's under Donna Richard Lynch. And just support this man, because all of our artists are having to not do live concerts right now, and they need all the help that we can give them. Am I right, Richard?
I certainly appreciate you saying that. We can sure stand a little support. I'm a lucky guy. I get to work on my farm and sell a little bit of hay, but, an extra $1 or $2 here and there don't hurt a thing, does it, Yvonne?
and ladies and gentlemen, music is essential. It is not non-essential. Music is good for the mind, the body, and soul. So know that. And if you love country western music, if you love the old-style music that tells a story, please go and hook up with my friend Richard, and you will not regret it. I want to thank you all for coming tonight. Tomorrow night I will be interviewing my friend Michael Lee, also known as Cypher. He has some new music out that he is doing singularly. We will be having the show at 9 o'clock. So join us tomorrow night at 9 o'clock when I will be talking to him. And then we will be having some more shows later on. So until then, we want to wish you all a good night. All right, my friend, we are now off the air. Of course, anything we say, is going to show up in the archives. But once again, thank you so much. The hour
Yvonne, it was
flew
a blast. Like I said earlier, anytime you want me, you just say the word, and we'll make it happen, hon.
It sounds like, and I got to get Jeremy back on here. That boy's just blowing things up, too.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
Y'all all of y'all that came on my show, because I follow all of y'all, everyone of y'all that have been on my show, I follow your successes. And when Michael puts up the charts, I go down the list, and I went, yep, told him. And all of y'all are doing magnificently.
Well, thank you, dear. Hey, I hope we get to cross paths in the flesh in the near future. That would be awesome. I hope we get to see you sometime.
It would. Are you coming to South Florida anytime soon?
Well, we always get to Florida. Once or twice a year. We have some good friends that snowbird down around Punta Gorda and different areas down there. So we've been known to get down there. Like in December or January, about every year we try to go down and see them. So unless there's something else unforeseen, that'd probably be the next time we're there.
Well, let me know, and maybe Punta Gorda's over on the West Coast, but I travel all over the state of Florida. I'm everywhere, and you need to get you some concerts down here because especially over in the Okeechobee area, because that is cattle country. That is cattle country. They have a rodeo every year. We also here in St. Lucie County have a fair, and they have the livestock shows and the rodeos and everything over there at the fairgrounds.
Well, if there's any way that you can put in a good word for me or reach out to us that we can send them some promo, we'd be more than happy to do that, dear.
Let me see what I can do on my end.
Well, thank you, Yvonne. And if there's anything you need from me or my better half, you can bet one thing: we'll get it to you.
Your friendship is all I need, my friend.
Well, thank you, dear. You keep me in mind if I can do anything or possibly get in your area. We'd love to work down there.
All right, let me work on it. Let me see what I can come up with.
Okay, honey. Thank you for having me on your show tonight.
Thank you for coming, and we'll talk some more. Will you come back on?
Anytime. You just say the word.
All right, darling. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.